I would like to introduce our next speaker, Sandeep Kumar. He's our next international speaker. He lives in Seoul. He's had his education in Switzerland. Um, he's the global business development head for Samsung Pay. And I think in that capacity, he deals with a lot of markets that are thinking very much about how to integrate mobile payments into their current ecosystems. I think he could tell us a lot about mobile in general, but also how the digital journey is going to look for the customer going forward. We are really looking forward to that. I think there's a wealth of knowledge in this man, not just about their company's proposition, but I think the world of mobile, and with mobile being such a big disruptor as a result of the fact that it's a form factor, a channel, or several channels, all in one thing. So there's so much things that can happen on top of what is already available or what can be made available. And I think we would like to tap into his knowledge of how the ecosystem potentially is going to develop. Sandeep, we are really looking forward to your presentation, and a warm welcome from all of us here in South Africa. We are looking forward to your presentation. Welcome.
So I need to just make sure that it fits my height. So thanks, Chris. So while Chris is helping with that, I believe you all can hear me. I'm quite audible, right? Okay, great. So a little bit more. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Sandeep. As rightly said, that I live in Seoul, and I work for Samsung Pay. I'm the global business development head for global expansion of Samsung Pay. So normally what we do, we get into the markets where Samsung Pay is not yet there. So I have been involved in discussing Samsung Pay and how ready the markets are in more than 20 different markets around the globe. So certainly I can tell you that just there are so many commons and so many uniqueness that lies. Now, I have been in technology for many years. I have played with many different roles, but to be with you and among you is a pleasure because bank was my first career start. So that's how I started. And what really has happened over the period of time, the number of innovations that I have been seeing, but the innovation that have been happening in the banking sector have always amazed me. I mean, the way we bank today, the way we transact today, and the way we pay today, the world has radically changed. And to be honest with you, I don't even remember when is the last time actually I stood in the queue to make a fund transfer, because I can do it right here. I can just do everything what I need right from here. So the advancements in the mobile and also in the digital technology have just made everything possible in real time. As I was coming here and I got a ping from my friend, hey, you forgot to pay me for the dinner last night. I said, sorry, I'm already in South Africa, but don't worry, money will be in your account within few minutes. And it was done. So what I'm trying to say here is what we see is only tip of the iceberg. There's just so much more to come, so much more to happen. And with that, I'm extremely delighted to speak with you about Samsung Pay and how Samsung Pay is actually helping in accelerating the future of digital payments. So once again, thank you for giving me this chance, and let me go with my presentation now. So I would like to share some of the things about Samsung Pay and how we are taking it seriously in terms of our strategy, what our plans are, and how this is going to be really adding value to the future of digital payments. Number one, we are looking into country expansions because you need to make sure that this solution or this service is available to as many as people possible on the earth. We know that every third person on earth is having a Samsung device. How we could make that difference. Number two, it's not always about payments. There are so many different things we do apart from payment in our day-to-day life. So if we really want to digitize the future, we need to consider in a very holistic way. And number three, we all know that how complex payment ecosystems are, how many partners are there. So if we are not able to address them in the right way, if we are not able to create an ecosystem which is sustainable in order to drive this, then it's not going to work. So before I actually get into the detail, let me share that how or what the philosophy of Samsung Pay is, right? And this is what we looked into. What really the users or the normal consumer value? Why the very different or many solutions out there in past never picked up? What has caused that? So when we looked into that, as we start to research, the key reasons for that. Number one, is it secure? Now we are talking about money, right? And this is something very close to people's heart. No matter which culture, which walk of life we come from, security is most concern for people. Number two, would it work everywhere? If I'm gonna use a particular payment instrument, would it be applicable? In fact, as I took the flight just uh, day before from Seoul, the first thing I did after I checked in, I think I was sharing with some of you this morning, is go to the money exchange, the currency exchange section, and convert my Korean wons into the local currency here so I could use it. So the acceptance itself is an hindrance. Would it work everywhere? And number three, this is gonna be the key. Is it really easy? And I think Gavin did touched upon even for in the previous one that ease of use, how easy it is, right? So is it intuitive? Is it easy to use? Because this is we are talking about breaking habits. We need the adoption to go only if we are able to provide something which is much more simpler, much more intuitive, and much more easy for customer to use. So we started to look at this, and what the Samsung Pay value proposition is what you see here. Samsung Pay is simple, secure, virtually anywhere. Now, what do I mean by that? Simple. So it's very easy and convenient for people to use it. You basically take your mobile phone, you swipe up, Samsung Pay would come up, and then you select your card, you authenticate, and you are ready to pay. You tap. One hand operation. You don't need to worry if the phone is in the sleep mode. The moment you swipe up, Samsung Pay comes up. You do your authentication and you tap. So this is what really consumers have been looking for, rather than I have to unlock my phone, look for the payment tab, and then select it, and then make the payment, which means we are talking about at least 3-4 extra clicks. We have probably got that nailed down. And then, as we move further in terms of security, security at Samsung is non-negotiable, and we take it very seriously. And as we talk about anything related to financial data, which our consumer really are concerned of, we make sure that we have taken multiple measures. So what you see here is number one, Knox. I'm not sure how many of you may be familiar with Samsung Knox, but Samsung Knox is a defense-grade security platform that goes onto our mobile devices. It was actually designed not for Samsung Pay, but much earlier for the military organization. And Samsung Knox have been made sure that it is able to protect the device from the moment it is turned on. So what is really happening is it's a hardware level security that we provide. So because we control being the manufacturer, we control the components on the hardware side and also the middleware and software side, we are able to make sure that at the time of manufacturing, we have already introduced what we call as a warranty bit into the device. And if someone tries to tamper with it, play with it, or jailbreak it, that's when this gets fused, blown away. And anything inside that we put in the Knox world, what we call the secure world, cannot be accessed anymore. So this is the hardware level of security which we are using. In fact, it has been certified more than 26 governments around the world. And today, FBIs of the world, Dubai police of the world, and many others are actually using for the highly sensitive data. What we did, the Samsung Pay is put into this. So this is the first level of security that we have provided. Number two, the card data itself. So there is no real card data that we store on this device. What data we have is all tokenized. So it's a token that is being stored, and as we make a transaction, when we are making that transaction, we are randomly generating a cryptogram which would be updated for every transaction. So basically what I'm saying is it cannot be reused. The data cannot be reused. So no matter what goes through the POS, it cannot be reused. And then the third part of the security is we have made it biometric enabled. So you have to use fingerprint. So normally, I'm sure you are familiar with Ant-Man, and I use this example often. Unless someone is Ant-Man and able to copy a fingerprint, you can't do this. You cannot enable Samsung Pay on Samsung devices. So looking at this, right, we have created these layers of security to ensure the customer is feeling comfortable, customer is free of mind that whether my solution is foolproof or not. Lastly, what happens if someone loses the device? We already have provided that measure as well through our web services. One could actually log on to Find My Mobile, would be able to not only lock whatever is inside or suspend the data inside Samsung Pay, can also remotely wipe out. So from end to end, it becomes very, very comfortable from security perspective that our consumers don't feel afraid of. And then virtually anywhere. And this is the killer, as I said, the wider acceptance. And virtually anywhere, what we have is on this device, we have enabled for Samsung Pay NFC, which I'm sure many of you are very well aware that what NFC does and how the different payment solutions out there work. What we have in addition is also MST. And MST stands for Magnetic Secure Transmission. So what magnetic secure transmission does, few things to remember. Number one, it basically mimics as if someone has swiped the card onto the POS terminal. However, the data that goes through is very different from the match swipe data. It is very similar to the NFC data. It is also tokenized data that is going through. Number two, what happens to our merchants? They don't even have to worry about it. The solution is just going to work. And from user perspective, I don't have to think twice whether I'm going to shop in a place where it is really supported, where the contactless terminals are, and whether I'm in the country, whether I'm outside the country, it's just going to work. And you all are payment and banking professionals, so all these terms which I use, NFC, MST, POS, they all probably are very familiar to us. But if I have to think that I ask my wife, hey, honey, go and shop at a place where there is a contactless terminal, it's not going to happen. Because for them, they just want to pay. They want to shop. So how are we going to make sure that that happens? So we are making sure that ease or even the worry is taken care. They don't have to think. Customer doesn't have to think. So he or she just goes and actually click on it anywhere, everywhere. It's going to work. So let me really show you what it means. Please, can we have the video, please?
the bakery that makes you feel way too good. The bistro where you get your new things in the mood. Everywhere you look. At the toy store that makes your kid again. Everywhere you look. Everywhere you look. Everywhere you look. Everywhere you look.
So what it just showed you, everywhere you go, means as a normal consumer, you don't have to change your shopping habits. You could be going to a barber shop to get a haircut, you can use it there. You could be going to a high-end shopping mall, you can use it there. You could be in your neighborhood, you could be in the city, you could be in the country, or you could be abroad. But it just works. And that's really where we believe the adoption will pick up. So, coming back, and the whole idea was to show and share some information because I was not familiar or wasn't sure that how many of you probably know about it, what Samsung pays, and I wanted to set some context. So that's why I shared that information. And with that hope, let me come back to the strategy. And with respect to what we are doing, so country expansion, right? This is, as I said, first and foremost important that this service is available to as many users, as many people as possible. So what we are doing? So in fact, we launched this service, we started to launch this service last August. We started with Korea, our home ground, and then we took the service to US in September. And since then, we have continued to launch. And as of last week, when we launched in Brazil, we actually have 8 markets enabled, but I will share about that. But at the same time, we were looking at how are we doing. So once we launched the service, we started to monitor some progress and how are we doing. And in the first 6 months, what we saw that we got 5 million users and $500 million transacted on Samsung Pay. And this is the data just from the 2 countries because at that time we were only live in 2 countries. And this gave us a lot of confidence, a lot of boost because we were first time launching a service in this mobile payment space. Samsung has not done it before. But the data or the answer, what we saw, the consumer interaction was so nice, and we started to see the numbers going up. It gave us a boost that yes, this is going to work and we're going to do this. And since then, in March, we launched in China. And in China, which all of you know is like one of the largest, not only from the economy perspective, but also one of the most complex markets. There are many different instruments from the mobile payment perspective already exist. And we could successfully do that in China. And since then, we went into Spain and entered Europe. After that, we introduced the service in Singapore, Australia, and lately in Puerto Rico. And just last week, we opened up the service in Brazil. And what it means, if I have to recap this, and this shows the dates like 20th of August, it was launched there in Korea, 28th of September, in USA, and then China in March, in Spain, Singapore, Australia, and so on. If you see this, it is less than 11 months since we started launching. And the 8 markets are in it. So if we do a little bit of maths, it's like more than 1 market every second month. And we continue to do this. And you are very well aware that from the financial industry perspective, this is not the speed normally industry runs. So when the first time we told our so-called stakeholders and partners that this is our plan, they felt almost impossible. But when they saw that how, even though Samsung is so big, so large, but what we were able to do it in within 6-7 months for Korea and US markets, they were with us. They are with us now. So we got a lot of boost from that also, and we were able to then continue to do that. And there are many more markets coming. And I'm sure you will have a question like, what happens to the other market? So for us, it's not a matter of whether we will launch in a market. It is just a matter of when we will launch in a market. And we will be doing that for many other markets, as you will see going forward. Number 2, which is again very important pillar of the strategy, and as I said earlier, is it's not just about payments. It has to do more than payments. Because as a common user, as a common person, we do a lot more than payments. So looking into those touch points, looking into those habits, we are constantly working on enabling the services that can help them. So number one thing that we enabled, what we call loyalty services or point services and memberships. Normally in our wallets, we will have maybe 2 or 3 payment cards, but we're gonna have maybe one card for the gas station, one card for my point rewards in my grocery shopping, maybe one for my high-end apparel shopping and so on, and maybe for my hotel. And often it happens, we're not going to carry those cards with us at a time when we really need it. Because maybe we left it at home, maybe we just didn't carry that day. So what we are doing that is now we are integrating those cards also here. And the way we have done the integration is not only that you can add your point cards or loyalty cards here, but also we have integrated them from the backend perspective. So right now the use case is when every morning when I reach office, I want to have a coffee, I go to Dunkin' Donuts and I have my payment card and I also have my loyalty cards, or so-called happy points. That's what it's called in Korea. And these are integrated in the backend. What do I mean by that? I don't have to show my loyalty card first and then give my payment card, and the cashier has to first swipe or do a scan and then do the payment. No. Now I just make a payment and my points are auto accumulated on the fly. So now this is simplifying experience. Again, delighting consumer, because for consumer I don't have to worry, did I carry my card today? And from the merchant perspective, from the cashier perspective, we are simplifying the operations. They don't have to worry about like handling 2 different cards, asking sir, where is your membership card and so on. It's taken care. And this again is what we believe will be helping the adoption. Gift cards. This is another feature. This comes very handy, especially if we think of if we have to gift someone. What are the best ways? So normally, people would go to one of the branded shops. They will have a gift card program. They'll give you a physical gift card, which you load a value and then give it to whoever you want to gift, right? What does it mean, first of all, that I need to make a visit to a particular place to buy a gift card? What second thing it means that I don't know if the person I'm going to gift next would really be shopping at this place or not. But I'm forced to because I just bought the gift card and I'm going to dispose that. And number 3 is it's not going to be real time. So some of the vendors or some of the brands have started what is called online gift card ordering, especially in US. You can do online ordering, but still it takes a couple of days before you get the physical card. So there is a lack of instant gratification, right? What we did in Samsung Pay, we actually partnered with many of the top merchants and we have included their gift cards into the Samsung Pay already. Now, how exactly it works is you go into the Samsung Pay, you say I would like to buy a gift card, you click on the gift card. Now, this is normally, it's very important and I really like it because depending on if I'm gonna gift it for my nephew, maybe I will choose Toys R Us, right? But if I'm gifting it to my brother and maybe he is in need of shoes, maybe I will choose Nike. So I can instantly decide based on the Facebook pop-ups which says your friend's birthday. And I like, okay, I forgot to buy a gift and I have to do something. And I'm normally traveling. So this helps me to immediately enable that. And then, not only that you can choose instantly, you can put in the value, you authenticate the pay with the Samsung Pay. The card is there. Now you can send it to anyone. The person doesn't have to have Samsung Pay. So it's not that the other person has to have Samsung Pay. It could be any device, any model, they can receive it. And they can use it there. And this is again creating that value proposition for them. Now looking at transit, we all commute. We all commute, whether we take a bus, taxi, trains and so on. And this again becomes an important integral part of consumer life. Are we touching into it? So at Samsung we are already working with many of the global transit authorities in the world in order to enable a very simple tap and go experience. In this case, customer doesn't even have to wake up its phone or authenticate the pay. As you can see, all the screens are black in this case, is because they can just tap and go. So if you think of case in point, transport for London, transporting maybe 15 million people on average per day, which is able to now save 4 clicks because I don't have to unlock my phone, I don't have to look for the payment application, I don't have to select the card, I don't have to authenticate. 15 million times 5 seconds means lot of time or means lot of savings or optimization. So again, for our partner, for the ecosystem, we are building that. And lastly, I mean, the one which I'm showing here is the ATM cash withdrawal, and this is my favorite too, because what we have done in Samsung Pay, you can actually add your bank card, and through your bank card, you would be then able to either withdraw or deposit. Of course, the ATM has to have the facility of deposit, but in Korea, all the banks support it, where you could actually select that I would like to, let's say, withdraw cash. It asks you how much cash you want, what denomination, do you need a receipt, and you input your ATM pin. Now, this is like kind of order ready, and then you walk to the ATM, you do a fingerprint authentication, you tap it on the ATM machine, the cash comes up. Now, what we have just solved here. Number one, the concern that many people have of queuing up in the ATM and then waiting for their turn. At the same time, the concern for the person who is actually withdrawing the cash is worried, is anybody looking after my pay? What is going on? How much and what should I do? So all those things are resolved here. So the experience is very similar to like a drive-through pre-ordering your cash, and you just walk in there and you get that. Other than this, we have also enabled online pay or in-app pay, which is also working. So that kind of simplifying all the other services. And since I said so much about these services, you might wonder, right, is it really happening? Is it really working? Let us show you what is really happening right now. Please, can we have the video, please?
Make your life easier with Samsung Pay's 5 new features. Membership, gift cards, transit, ATM, and online payments all in one place. Membership, redeem points for rewards and benefits. Gift cards. Keep all your gift cards in one place for easy use. Transit. Pay on the go. ATM. Make withdrawals with your phone, even without a card. Online payments. Shop seamlessly in-app without leaving your screen. More than a phone, more than a payment. Simple, secure, virtually anywhere.
Actually, I was at Samsung Pay booth this morning and someone asked me, why you guys call this a phone? It's more than a phone. Think of a new name. So yes, I think this is a serious problem. We have to think about it. Now, looking into the third pillar of our strategy, which is building an ecosystem which is sustainable, which is around Samsung Pay, which is helping our consumer life in a daily basis. We are working with all the different stakeholders, whether the financial institutions, merchants, loyalty and membership aggregators, or transit, and many more. So let me share with you what we are doing right now. So looking at financial institution, one thing that I constantly talk when I go and meet with different financial institutions in many countries. We are not here to compete with them. We are here to complement them. We are here to work with them. We are here to work for them as a technology provider. We are another channel that we want to create, because I know, as I said earlier, every third person on this planet is working with this device from Samsung. So So what can we do to help to digitize more and more transactions using our devices? Banks and card networks, they get good visibility of their cards. As you might have seen already, that the whole card art, everything shows up, their brands comes up, and they are able to get more and more transactions done, which is what really matters, how we can convert cash to the digital format, which is what the real problem is, because handling cash is not easy. So we are working with them very closely around the globe. Looking at merchants and all the different value added services from the loyalty and membership perspective, we also work with them. And I strongly feel merchants are very critical. And the reason for that is because they are the direct interface or touch to the end consumer, right? And they need to be there. They need to support it. They need to understand it. And I would say like that there are three things that really matters to the merchants in this case. Number one, as I said earlier, is from the security perspective, the how we have created the whole layers of security around Samsung Pay, whether device, whether the data which is tokenized, and whether it is the fingerprint or biometric, we overall reduce the fraud risk a lot. And this is a very good news from the merchant perspective because overall fraud is going down. Number two, merchants don't have to do anything. This solution just works. They don't have to upgrade their terminals. They don't need to worry about what is going to happen, what kind of things I need to worry, because this is going to be the same experience as they have already been doing with the plastic. So it's already there. And that sometimes wows them because they don't know about it. And number three, they are now able to get some digital engagement with the consumer. So they could actually make use of this digital information or analytics, if you will, in order to create the right offerings, in order to create the right coupons or whatnot, and run that effectively. So we are there to work with them to make sure that they understand. And often the case, we find a situation where merchant doesn't know about Samsung Pay, whether it works or not, and a customer walks in and forces its way through to make a payment, and it happens. And what really happens after that? So let's see one of such reaction. Chris, can we get the video, please?
So, when you sell some pay to get a cat sit down at the strong sale. Sometimes on ride, mustard, put a little yes on there. See that? I don't know, man, just put on something. Do that. They have to car. You know, Apple Pay. Well, like Samsung Pay, kind of work everywhere. You know this thing, you know, what do you want now? You gotta fix that one, right? Take money. This is not the place on a man that's done anything wrong. Well, I think so. I look at the camera. I look at the camera. All right. You ready? It doesn't work. Watch it. Oh. Samsung Pay is just pretty much everywhere else. Yeah.
So this is really what happens in real life. In case of Korea, we didn't have to do a lot of merchant education because people were having a GoPro camera and they were forcing their way out. And this was all what we call word of mouth marketing. The buzzword was created and people are using it. So coming into the last part, which is again in our ecosystem, as I said, we are constantly looking into the consumer journey, day-to-day consumer journey, what they do, and transit is an integral part of it. So we work very closely with many of the transport authorities around the globe. We have enabled it. We are enabling more and more in the markets where we have launched. But looking at the depth and the breadth of Samsung product portfolio, actually the kind of solution that we can provide, it's just a question mark. We can just do a lot more. And we are constantly looking for those partners which are there to work with us and make that happen. So to summarize, what we are constantly doing and we are paying attention to is we are much more receptive, very much open and looking forward for the feedbacks in the way we are building the new use cases, experiences, so that we could actually solve individual problems that lies out there. Because I believe if we could solve a problem for one person, it would solve a problem for many. But if we are not able to address that one individual, we won't be able to address many. So we pretty much welcome all of you. If you are already working with us, we thank you, and these are just some of the names. If you are not yet working with us, we open arms, welcome you, join us in this journey of transforming the digital payments, and we look forward to meeting with you. So we are right here, just in front, we have our booth. Join us there, and we would like to see that if you have experienced Samsung Pay and how we can together build the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandeep. And they also make good coffee at their booth, I must say. Any questions? Lady there in the middle.
I know I have been holding all of you for lunch, right? So I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Jolene from Bidvest Bank. I'd just like to find out, is Samsung Pay PCI compliant, certified PCI compliant?
Certified?
Protection of card
Yes,
information.
So we do have the necessary certification in place, but certainly we are not planning to become a bank. So we are not doing that, but we have got all those certification in order to ensure if the government or the regulator asks for it, we do have that sorted.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? The gentleman here at the back.
Will Samsung be bringing NFC and Samsung Pay to the lower end phones? Because you're competing with the likes of Xiaomi, Redmi, Huawei in our lower end markets. So unless Samsung can compete with them on that level, we lose a great chunk of the market.
Yeah, great question, and this comes up very often wherever I am, because when we launched this service in Korea last year and USA, we started with our flagship device. So we started with the S series devices and Note series devices, and because we are talking about not just NFC functionality but also MST, which is basically a magnetic coil in here, which sends the magnetic signal to the POS terminal, right? Which means that there is a hardware cost involved, and also in order to build all the necessary security with the Knox features and everything and the biometric, it overall has a business implication. However, it was only 4 months in the market, and we started to get a lot of requests that not many people have the high-end devices, but this service has to be available to many people. So what are you going to do? Starting this January, we have already introduced all the same features onto our A series devices. So all the A series devices that we are shipping globally support that. And now, as we walk into, and we have now just launched our 8th market, we are getting the request for J series devices. From the business perspective, we are reviewing it, and we are certainly building the business case that how it can be enabled. So the answer is yes, the consideration is already there. Another question that comes on top of that: why only Samsung devices? Why not all Android devices? So that's again, maybe that's for my selfish interest that yes, it's Samsung Pay, so it's on Samsung devices. But yes, ideal world, maybe everybody should do it.
Thank you, Sandeep. Any more questions? I don't want to hold you, but we've got the man here today.
I'll be here around for 2 days. I'm there. Feel free anytime. I will be more than happy to talk to each of you. I look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sandeep.